Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a testosterone-filled Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. That's our new deal, Testosterone Tuesdays. Brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Get your testosterone right. Yes, and we got lots to talk about here today. Got a fun show lined up for you folks here. We will be joined by Linus Lundqvist, IndyCar driver at the St. Pete Grand Prix. Will be making his St. Pete Grand Prix debut. So we will chat with him at 11 o'clock. Scott Reynolds will join us at 10:30 to talk all things Buccaneers. And there's a lot going on right now with the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield's name is out there, and I mean out there, in terms of going to the Vikings maybe or out to the Atlanta Falcons. I think this is more posturing, but we'll get into that.
Did you hear the Mike Florio rumors?
Oh, God. Good morning to you, IndyCar Tim, by the way. We'll be talking to an IndyCar guy today. So
yes, man, I'm ecstatic right now.
What the hell's Mike Florio talking about now?
I like Linus a lot. I can't wait to talk to that little kid. But so Mike Florio says that Kirk Cousins and his family were spotted in Atlanta looking at houses.
Come on.
Swear to God, he reported that. It's all over ProFootballTalk.com.
Okay. Well, good. What about Justin Fields? Was he spotted at home in Atlanta? That'd be good. There's no way on God's green earth that Jason Light is going to allow Baker Mayfield, or there's no way on God's green earth that Mike Evans is going to allow Baker Mayfield to go to Atlanta.
No,
I just cannot see that. I cannot. That would make Baker look like such a D-bag.
Such a
if
tool.
he did that.
Yeah.
I mean, it would screw up everything that he has accomplished in the last year and set himself up for $100 million guaranteed payday when he was an unwanted free agent, minimum dude. Like nobody wanted him last year. Comes to the Buccaneers and now everybody wants him. Yeah. Come on, Baker. He's not doing that. He is not doing that. He's not.
He's not going to move. He's not going to move out of another stadium, right? I mean, he was living in the stadium in Cleveland, right? And then he had to move to Carolina, then L.A., and now he's living in the stadium in Tampa. He's not have to move into another stadium.
Well, if you're looking at that, the Mercedes-Benz one has a sunroof, so that's probably the best home if you're going to be living in your, yeah. Although, the one in Minnesota ain't bad either, but the weather's cold up there. Yeah,
it was such a great bit, man.
Yeah, wasn't it though? It was. So many of those were so good, so well done, so much better than their other awful commercials. Right?
Oh my God! Right?
Yes, please stop. So Baker Mayfield is not going to Atlanta. That would be the biggest traitor move to Mike Evans ever. I just can't see it happening. And I know Jason Light is probably working with his agent. And look, they want to. This is probably going to be Baker's. Let's just be honest. It could be his only big payday. Yeah. Is he going to play well for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years and earn another one? We hope so. Gosh, we hope so. But the way Baker plays, I don't think he's a longevity guy. I think his comp really is Kirk Cousins. Yeah. A little bit more athletic Kirk Cousins. Maybe a little bit more hip. I don't think he shops at Kohl's. But I think they're very similar guys. They're veterans that are going to get you, 25 to 30 touchdown passes, 3,800 to 4,200 yards, probably throw 8 to 10 picks. I mean, I think they're in that area, but that gets you to the playoffs. Yeah. If you put a team around you, that gets you to the playoffs. And I think, I think Baker's ceiling could be a little bit higher with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and some continuity in his life. He knows that. I don't see it. I do not see him. He may hit free agency, but he's not going anywhere. Come on.
I mean, I would hazard a guess that Light and Mayfield already have a deal worked out in principle, and they're just hammering out the details before they announce it. That's where they're at.
I think it's probably, the Anton Winfield Jr., they've got a lot of moving parts here. Chase McLaughlin, Levante David, and a lot of that in my mind, the Bucs already have it all pretty much agreed to. Like they're going to bring everybody back. They've got the cap money to do it. It's just a matter of how aggressive they want to be pushing stuff down the road as the cap goes up, right? So they've got the money to do it. The guys, I think, are all highly motivated to come back and keep it all together, right? And that's, to me, that's the most powerful thing. You could talk about money. You could talk about, the place you work, the city you live in. But, man, for these guys, it comes down to their boys, right? It comes down to their brothers in arms.
Yeah.
And when Mike Evans is signing on for this deal, I just cannot see Baker Mayfield not saying, I'm with you. But it's more of like, look, I'm coming back, but we're still working him for a little bit of cash here. We're trying to get our best deal. Mike's like, I know. He goes, but don't worry what you hear. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to go to Atlanta. We're not going. We're not doing that stuff. We're just trying to get a little bit more cash, a little bit more upfront, a little bit more whatever, right? So I think that's what's going on right now. I think it's the same with Anton Winfield Jr. I think his contract. I mean, keep your eye on Twitter all day long because I think that could be happening during the show. This is the last day to tag guys. So we're either going to get the tag on Winfield or he's going to be announced as the highest paid safety in league history. So I think that's coming. And then I think Baker will be next, followed by Levante and Chase McLaughlin. No Devin White. But
yeah, what's going to happen with Devin White, JP? How much is he going to get?
I don't know, but it ain't going to be from the Bucs. I can tell you that.
There.
It ain't going to be from the Bucs. So, yeah, I still am 100%. That's my belief. Educated guess. Scott Reynolds will be joining us at 10:30. He's got some sources that are saying that the Vikings and the Falcons are interested. And look, they're all playing the game. The Justin Field negotiations are going on right now with Atlanta. Okay, they have shown interest. Obviously, they would show interest. And again, I think, having worked in that organization, having worked for Arthur Blank, I know he loves to be relevant, and especially in his own town. And right now, the Braves are the king of Atlanta. And he wants to, you sign Justin Fields, an Atlanta guy. He immediately, the Falcons, even in the offseason, as the Braves get ready to start, they move to the top of the heap, and they're going to be at the top of the heap. They'll be in Atlanta. They'll be selling season tickets. The entire city will be on fire for Justin Fields. I think I just get a sense that's where they're at. Because they're so desperate, they passed on. Now they have a chance to get them, I just think that's where they're at. And Baker Mayfield, as much as we love Bake, he ain't going to move the needle like Justin Fields in Atlanta. So in the end, it is about selling tickets, and it is about, entertainment. And you certainly are not making the case that Justin Fields doesn't have the potential to put up numbers like Baker. I think he does in that offense with the right coordinator and the right situation. Yeah, with the weapons that they have. Absolutely. Yeah. So, now is that winning football? Does he throw more picks? Probably. Does he have more fumbles? Probably. Does he make more boneheaded plays? Probably. I know what his ratings were in Chicago. I know what his numbers are. And I don't trust anything. Horrible offensive line. Not a whole lot of weapons there to speak of, and an organization that has never gotten quarterback right. A losing organization ever.
Sid Luckman, JP.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Sid Luckman.
So, I mean, I just can't pass judgment. So it's all lining up for Kirk Cousins returning to Minnesota, Justin Fields going to Atlanta, Baker Mayfield staying in Tampa, Russell Wilson probably going to Pittsburgh. That's my guess. And can we stop for a moment and just appreciate that we don't have a GM? What's his name? Patton? In last name Patton, not George
Denver?
Patton. Yeah, in Denver. I mean, when that deal was made, I said, you're out of your freaking mind. You're out of your freaking mind. I remember listening to that deal, and I'm like, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, I can't remember who the third player is. 3 players, good players.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah, that's a good deal. 2 first-round picks. What? For a 35-year-old quarterback. 2 second-round picks. By the way, the first-round picks turned into a number 5 and a number 9 over.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 top 10.
Like, how great was that?
Picks. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And Seattle is immediately a playoff team, and their roster is as they continue to collect these draft picks going to be unbelievable. It'll be really, really good for Russell Wilson, who sets up an office
next to the head coach.
I mean, what a disaster!
And as soon as Sean Payton got to town, that's the first thing he did.
Yeah.
This office is gone. You are a player. You're one of them. You are not one of us. You will act like one of them, not like one of us.
And didn't he give up a first-round pick for Sean Payton too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't, Sean Payton, I have a lot of respect for him as a head coach. I think he's, fantastic. But man, you can't recover from that in terms of lack of draft capital. You can't. It just that's a decade of mediocrity staring them in the face. I
mean, look at the Rams though. The Rams haven't had a first round pick since 2017 or 2018. Yeah. And I mean, not that they're, they won a Super Bowl, but they, because of their quarterback trade.
Yeah. Well, look at the same. The Bucs did the same thing. 2 1s and 2 2s for John Gruden, and $8 million.
Got him a Super Bowl.
But it got him a Super Bowl. It was a ridiculous deal at the time. Ridiculous. And, and did it contribute to, they won a couple of division championships with Gruden, got to the playoffs, never, didn't do anything, didn't win a playoff game. But that, and 14 years of no playoffs to follow, that's what it does. It just destroys you. But that's the Broncos' fault. That's right. Their fault. And now, Russ moves on. And I don't know. I don't think he has a whole lot left. I really don't. I mean, I know his his touchdown to interception ratio was top 5 this year, but his QBRs in the mid-teens or mid-20s over the last couple of years. Just eye test. He's just not the same cat. His superpower was always his escapability, extending plays, but he could also play from the pocket. Not saying he couldn't. He could do both. But his superpower was extending plays and making plays down the field. And he just doesn't have that anymore. He just doesn't have it anymore.
No, and don't get lost. So the Russell Wilson deal, that trade was made under the old ownership group before the team was sold. So it was the Bolin family that approved that trade, that made that trade before Walmart money came in and bought the team. So the new team or the new ownership group really has nothing tied to Russell Wilson other than the money that they're going to have to pay, right?
Oh, I didn't even mention the money.
No, and apparently they're okay paying $85 million now over 2 seasons just to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's and Russell Wilson evidently is highly motivated to go play somewhere for the league minimum or somewhere nearby because he's going to get his money from Denver and show that he can still play. Well, good for him. Not here in Tampa Bay.
Let's see it, Russell. Let's see what you
got.
No
part of that. Yeah. And it's interesting because Russell was, I think he was the consummate leader and pro. And as soon as he got big time, the Sierra, the big money, everything changed. Everything changed. He stopped being, the lovable guy and became the
I mean, Pete Carroll didn't even want him around anymore.
Exactly. Pete Carroll didn't want him around. Sean Payton didn't want him around. His teammates didn't want him around. I don't know. See, Pete, he's like penciled into Pitt. I wouldn't want him if I was Pittsburgh. He's a culture killer at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want no part of him. Anybody who wants to be separated from his team and have his own office is a culture killer.
That is ridiculous.
Think Baker Mayfield's ever doing that? No.
His own office. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what would be going on in Baker Mayfield's private office?
It was a sitcom waiting to happen right there.
Yeah. Let's do a Hard Knocks on that right there.
Yeah. So
camera in there all the time.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So in Antoine Winfield Jr., I see Greg Auman was reporting this morning that they basically are ready to announce that deal soon, which will reset the safety market, which is exactly what you would hope. You draft they got him in the 3rd round, I think. second or third, I think third round out of Minnesota. What a steal. To get a guy, and how does he last the third round? Well, he's undersized, 5'10", 5'10 and a half, whatever. But man, you cannot replace those instincts in a football player. He grew up in a football family. His dad obviously played in the NFL for the Vikings. And, he's just that guy. And he so much reminds me of Rondé Barber in the way that he played, in his stature and his instincts and his playmaking ability. Yeah. And you don't mind paying that guy. You don't mind paying him at all. And if you got to franchise him, you do, but I just don't see that coming, which, could leave the franchise tag for the kicker, which that could work out really nice for the Bucs as well. Because as I mentioned yesterday, kickers, he had a great year, but they're year-to-year cats, right? he had he was with 7 other teams before he got to the Bucs, Jason?
Yeah, you don't want to pay them a ton of money.
Yeah. So, and you don't want to do long-term deals with them. You just don't.
Deal, yeah.
Because those guys are crazy and they lose it. And so if you can go year by year, but you want him back because he had a hell of a year. You definitely want him back. You don't want to let him walk. But if you could do a franchise, I think the number is like $7 million on the kicker, maybe even somewhere around there. So
Jesus, those.
Bucs Rays Bolt says Baker could get tagged. That's interesting. I mean, because you can always work out a long-term deal, but the problem with that is you have to, you might get stuck with it. And it's 35 million.
30 is it? Yeah, 35 million. Right.
Yeah, and that's the cap hit. So that's chatter about Atlanta. Tom Casper says chatter about Atlanta doing a $200 million deal with Baker. Listen, we just talked about the Russell Wilson deal. Ain't nobody paying $200 million to Baker Mayfield. Ain't no way. And and that's the only thing that could get him out of Tampa Bay. If they were to come at him with stupid money.
Right.
And as a franchise, how could you do that? When you could get Justin Fields for a second round pick and you're going to end up paying him probably $20 million this year.
Yep.
He's still on his rookie deal. You don't even have to pick up the 5th-year option if you don't want to, but you probably should if you're going to give him a second round pick. I mean, come on. Are you serious? You could get Kirk Cousins for less. You could draft a quarterback for less. I mean, no. There's no way Atlanta Falcons are paying him $200 million. What are you talking about? 175 guaranteed? No, that's not. That is. I guess it could happen. People do stupid things for quarterbacks. Stupid thing. But Baker Mayfield's track record is what it is. I mean, I think we know where his ceiling is. You're going to pay $200 million for a quarterback. You're going to want somebody who's got a much higher ceiling than Baker Mayfield. I mean, let's be honest. So yeah.
God, yeah.
Thomas says could see Jameis return. Ooh,
oh wow.
Way now, James. Arthur Blank getting old and desperate. I get it, but that's just stupid. That's stupidity. Raheem Morris doesn't want to sign up for that.
No. Because
the other thing about Baker is he's not the most durable dude. Okay. I mean, and he plays, I guess you should say he's durable and he's tough, but he plays recklessly. And, he just plays with a reckless abandon. And that's part of what you love about him. That's part of, but it's also, you have to recognize if you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, it better be for a guy like a Tom Brady who doesn't get hurt and has a track record of starting games years on end. You don't want a guy that's, I just don't see that. I think. No.
Man, but it could happen though. Stranger things have happened in the NFL. Than somebody throwing, $250 million at
I get Mayfield. It. They do stupid things for quarterbacks, but that's crazy. Jeremy tag McLaughlin if Winfield resigns. Yes, of course. You're not letting Winfield hit the open market to tag a kicker. No, that's not what we're doing here. That would, but I would. It's interesting about tagging Baker. If you don't want him to hit free agency, that's an interesting move. Because you could tag him and you could fit him under the cap at $35 million for the first year, but you would rather, and then you could, obviously you could, if you have to do it, you can do it. It's going to cost you in other areas. But you don't let him get away. And maybe that's what they're working on today for, what's the deadline? 4:00 for tags?
4:00 Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you take him off the free agent market and then he says, then you go, okay, you want the long-term deal we just offered you, $100 million guaranteed? And he'd be like, And do I risk getting injured this year? Do I take the $100 million? Okay, I'll take the $100 million.
Oh, we lost JP as we talk Baker Mayfield getting extended, getting tagged, getting offered all the money from Atlanta or anybody else. What do you guys think? How much money is too much money for Baker Mayfield with the Bucs? What number are you comfortable with? We've talked about $25 million. We've talked about $30 million over 3 years. What length and what dollar amount are you guys okay with Baker Mayfield as we try to get JP back here on the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports? Now he's gone. He'll come back. He'll tag back in here. But yeah, clearly you want Baker back. Clearly he's your guy after what he showed last season. God, he got you to the playoffs, right? On this team. And this is a good team. I've said it before, man. And you guys, all of you guys know that I live in Dallas. All of you guys know I cover the Cowboys. I write for the Cowboys, and I'm a Cowboys fan. I've got the Bucs going farther in the playoffs than the Cowboys next year. All right. I'm a realist. I'm not one of those stupid Cowboys fans who think the sun sets on Jerry Jones' house every night. Right. And Bucs Raised Bolt says 25 to 30 million a year for 3 years. Man, I don't disagree with that. It's probably, you're hoping 25, right? Jeremy, thanks for chiming in. 30 to 35 million for Baker, man. I think that's what somebody else maybe offers him. Maybe not what the Bucs are offering, but man, if the Bucs are going to offer 3 years, it's probably closer to 25. Thomas, thanks again for chiming in, as you always do. Atlanta can wreck our cap by offering Baker phony contract deals. Yeah, but Baker will also know they're phony, and Baker's not going to screw over the Bucs. He may go somewhere else, but he is not going to screw over the Bucs. And he will recognize a fake deal, as will everyone else in the league. Don't forget that the league has to approve these deals when they make offers, and I don't think fake offers are going to go very far with Baker or the team. Or the league. Yeah, so it could be literally anything. It could be anything. But I think Baker has built a good relationship with Jason Light, with the Bucs, and I don't think he's going to do anything to screw them over, right? So that's it's going to be a contentious deal here because he could be getting offered just a ton of money from people. He could be getting offered just a ton of money from people, but he's not going to screw over the team. He's not going to do that by any stretch. If he sees a fake deal, he's going to know it's a fake deal. The team's going to know it's a fake deal. As we get JP now back here on the JP Peterson Show on FanStream Sports.
Yes, fake deal. It's a fake deal.
Yeah.
They're just trying to jack the money up for the Bucs, and that's how the Bucs combat that. That they use the tag on Baker.
Yeah.
So you ain't going anywhere. And then his only option is to play under the tag for 1 year. And we're, for 35, when there's probably a deal for 100 million guaranteed sitting there. He ain't saying no to that.
Yeah.
He ain't saying no to that. But then you'd have to get Winfield under contract. Although I don't see Winfield going anywhere either. I mean, you talk about a team guy. He's a team guy. And I don't, they've already, pretty much offered him to reset the market as a safety.
Right.
So, I think that's the Baker taking the tag is a more interesting thing. And you don't, at this point, you don't let him get away. You cannot let him get away. And I think he would definitely do that long-term deal.
And you know what? Baker Mayfield may very well want the franchise tag.
Yeah.
It's a lot of freaking money.
Yeah.
And then he'll play on that and he'll have another, 27 touchdown, 10 interception season, lead the Bucs to the playoffs again.
Yeah.
And then they'll either tag him again for at that point $40 million, or they'll offer him a 3-year, 30 to 35 per. deal. So he's going to make his money either way.
Or he'll get 4 plays and get hurt.
And still get paid. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, get paid this year. But if he got hurt, played a couple games and was, maybe it's a bad game. There were plenty of those last year. He wasn't great every game. Maybe it's a couple bad games and he gets hurt. What's his value then? Not much. Certainly not 100 million guaranteed. No way. No way. Perceptions can change very, very easily, and options change for teams, right? So everything changes. And when you're sitting there and you're Baker Mayfield and you were on 4 teams in 4 years and you got $100 million guaranteed staring you in the face, yeah, you can hit free agency and always come back to it, right? See what somebody else is going to offer. Or you can take it and stay in Tampa Bay and, keep building it with what you're doing.
Yeah, because nobody knows what the market is for Baker unless he hits the open market, right?
Right.
Nobody knows what the Falcons, what the Steelers would offer him.
The true market is.
Yeah. Not what he wants, not what we think it is, not what the franchise tag would be, but what the true market is, what somebody would offer him to leave Tampa. And we don't know that unless and until he hits free agency.
See, this is something that's interesting. James says the going rate now is 40 million. 30 to 35 is probably where the Bucs are at with Baker. Well, who decides the going rate? Sport Track, that, who are they? Yeah. With all due respect, they're just looking at numbers and making guesses. And there's no, factual information there. That's not, well, he's worth what people are willing to pay him. Does Sport Track know that the Atlanta Falcons are going to pay him 40 million, 120 million guaranteed, or 160? Do they know that for sure? No, they don't know that for sure. The only way to know for sure is if he hits the open market. They're just guessing. They're guessing. They're looking at other contracts and what guys have done. But every situation is different. Every situation is different. It depends on the player, depends on the injury history, depends on so many different things. The market, who needs quarterbacks? What's the market out there? What's the competition like? Who else is out there? And what are the other options? What are the other options coming down the pike? There are teams that may want to just go into the draft and get a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. So there's a lot of different things going on. But the bottom line is the Bucs control the market right now. They control the market with the franchise tag. And they can, and once they take Baker off the market, everybody else, starts scrambling. Now the Vikings are going to zero in on Kirk Cousins, right? Or maybe they plan on just moving on at this point and getting, but I think the Vikings they're a playoff team. Why would you want to move on from Kirk Cousins unless you feel like the injury is something he's not going to come back? And Achilles, age 35, that's a real thing. That's a real deal.
Yeah.
Would they rather have Baker Mayfield than Kirk Cousins for the same money? Sure they would. He's 28 years old. How much is, more money? And I think that the Vikings are about the same spot that the Bucs are in terms of cap money. Not overflowing, but enough to pay what they have to pay to get Baker. But again, it's not going to be substantially more than what the Bucs are going to offer. So why would he leave? And they don't even have Justin Jefferson locked up, right?
Right.
So we don't know what they're doing with that. I just, again, nothing says Baker's leaving. Nothing. There's nothing that tells me. The only thing that would tell me is there was a bona fide $200 million offer. And of course, there shouldn't be. There's no tampering going on. Does Baker Mayfield know for sure what the Falcons are offering? Because if he does, that's tampering. That's legit tampering.
Right.
So that's not supposed to be the case. Has his agent talked to somebody at a speakeasy in Atlanta or Indianapolis? Probably. Speakeasy, right? You gotta get on the telephone. There's a code to punch in, to get in the back door, and then the door opens. They have a place like that in Atlanta. It's pretty
probably
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did they meet in a back alley? You like back alley better?
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Did they meet in a strip club? Probably.
I like that even better.
Whatever. But yeah. Has there been talk? Yeah, but you still don't know if that's real. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, get his take. He wrote an article on the Vikings and the Falcons being interested in the Buccaneers quarterback. So we'll see what that level of interest is, according to Scott Reynolds. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. That's the Jeeves motto, and that's exactly what they do. Scott Jeeves is local here, supports a lot of the local charities, so he is ingrained in this community, not Orlando, not Miami, not like some of these other big law firms. He is ingrained in Tampa Bay, been here for over 30 years practicing law. That is the Jeeves difference. The Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. If you've been in an accident, and issues with an insurance company, issues at work with your employer, call the Jeeves Law Group for a free consultation, and tell them JP sent you. Back in 3 with Scott Reynolds. Stay with us. JP here for my friends at your local Synovus Bank, and I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation, and that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a get-acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson, so if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as the roll on here on a testosterone Tuesday. Scott Reynolds will join us in 2 minutes. He just gave me a text, so let's give him a thumbs up. As, just can't do it, bro. Cannot multitask anymore. It's when you're supposed to jump in and say something funny about me producing on the air.
Because you're old?
Because I'm old. I've used to try to fake it, but people can see right through that now. I just tell them. So it's a live show, folks. It's a live show, so you never know what's going to happen. That's why you tune in, right? We could get live breaking news right as Scott Reynolds joins us that Antoine Winfield Jr. will be getting a new contract to reset the safety market as he well should. What a heck of a season he had. We are brought to you, by the way, by the Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC, on Testosterone Tuesday. If you would like to get your testosterone right, go to BAMMC.com. Go see our good friend Chris Lugo, who joins us on the show each and every week to talk about supplements and your health and getting everything right. And we talk about getting a personal medical plan for you, not something that is a script for a symptom that probably won't work anyway and certainly won't address the main problem. That's what they do differently there at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. They do it personally. You get a personal diet, personal workout, personal everything as they look at your blood work, and they spend time with you, something you won't get at a regular doctor's office. So give them a call. Go to BAMMC.com and get on board. Scott Reynolds is a happy patient as well. All right, before we get to Scott, some of the comments two wonderful people have brought to the table here this morning. Good morning to all of you. Bucs raise Bolts. Is he really serious about? You mean the Bucs take a chance on Russell Wilson? You out of your mind?
Like on purpose instead of Baker? Like why would they do that?
Yeah, for less money, I guess. You have a salary.
He still play for the minimum.
Yeah. Heard Baker saying he's not taking a discount. Yeah, we heard that from Mike Evans too, didn't we?
Yeah.
How'd that work out? This is the year. This is the time of year, folks, where it's lying season. They don't tell you the truth. This is all agent stuff, team stuff, getting out there in the ether. They call the Schefters and all the different guys, and they say this is what Mike Evans wants to play with an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and everybody leaves their mind like, because Baker Mayfield's not an elite quarterback, the Bucs aren't going to win the Super Bowl. Like, you know what? Mike thinks he is.
Yeah,
and in his definition, he's an elite quarterback because he had an elite season with him, so that makes him an elite quarterback, right?
And this is the time of year
when equation works for me. I don't know about you.
This is the time of year when players' agents make all of their money. Right? They're touting their clients, they're building up their clients, and that are becoming free agents. Man, especially when they're quarterbacks and wide receivers and the skill groups. And this is what we go through. We go through all of the rumors, and trust me, I write about this crap every day.
Yeah.
I don't know how many articles I wrote about Mike Evans coming to the Ravens.
Right.
Over the past month.
Yeah.
All right. And of course it didn't happen.
Right. Exactly. And these are all the agents putting that out there to get leverage.
Yeah.
Baker could get the tag. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think, we hadn't really talked about that because we thought they'd get a deal done and they may have to use the tag on Winfield. But as the Winfield contract becomes more evident, right? And maybe those are just rumors, but I think that has a lot of teeth to it because it all makes sense. You gotta, this is why, hopefully you guys tune in. We've been, I've been doing this for 40 years now. I've been covering the Bucs for 27 years now. Scott Reynolds has been covering him for 30 years. So as we bring in Scott Reynolds for the Pewter Report. So this is what we do. We sift through all the smoke that's out there and we try to tell you what's really going on. Good morning to you. The hair looks great, Scott Reynolds. How are you?
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
A little jealous, not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah, but your beard looks better than his.
Yeah, I can't grow a beard, so I do have beard envy. So
all right, I'll trade you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're sitting here, talking about the quarterback stuff. One thing we haven't talked about, Scott, is if the Bucs get a deal done with Antoine Winfield Jr., which it appears it may happen.
Yeah.
Why not tag Baker Mayfield?
Well, just the cost, the prohibitive cost of it, because to franchise a quarterback, you're looking at almost $37 million. And you have to have that cap room available to use when you franchise a player. If you don't have that cap space, you can tell the league all you want. We're franchising Baker Mayfield. They're going to say, you don't have the cap room. Sorry. It's just like when you
don't have to be cap compliant until the league year starts, right?
Well, you have to be cap compliant, but only the 51 contracts, only the top 51 contracts count towards the cap. Right. So you do have to be cap compliant for the start of free agency. And that's why you see teams cut players and because they got to get down to become cap compliant. Otherwise, there's penalties. And the biggest penalties, you can't sign anybody if you don't have any room. Right. So the Buccaneers
would force Baker to take the $100 million deal that's on the table.
Well,
from the Buccaneers.
I'm just saying what it would mean is if they don't come to terms, they don't have the cap space to franchise tag Baker Mayfield. So then he would hit free agency, and then the Buccaneers, would hope that their relationship with him would would mean something, and that he wants to come back and play with them. And at the same time, when you get to next Monday, all of the talks and the shadows of the combine and Indy, then they're out in the open. So, then the price can legitimately go up, and then you have multiple suitors come in, and then all of a sudden the Buccaneers, they want Baker back, but they want him back at price X. And then if that price goes to price Y or price Z, if it goes to price Y, you swallow hard and you make the deal, because what's the alternative? The alternative is not good.
Right.
If you go to price Z, which might be too much, then you're out, and then you're looking at backup plans.
Kyle Trask.
Legitimate backup plans, if that's the case. Yeah.
And not Russell Wilson, by the way. That's been suggested in our comment section. That ain't happening. He's a culture killer. You would, I think you'd go internal, and then maybe look to draft a quarterback.
Right.
Which is, it's not a horrible idea. It's not a horrible option. If the Bucs were stuck with that, it's still not a horrible option, and especially with. But here's the thing, Scott, I don't see any way in hell that Baker Mayfield goes to Atlanta after Mike Evans just signed here.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. But here's a couple reasons why he might. If the number gets crazy, right? Let's say the Bucs come in at like 30, 32 million, and Atlanta's like, we want you for 38, okay, over 4 years, right? That's a 6 million differential. Let's say if the number is 32. So it's 6 million over 4 years. That's $24 million. That's a lot of money. Even if Uncle Sam takes half, it's $12 million. Oh, by the way, you lost $12 million in an investment scheme. So this is your chance to make up some of that. Plus, the market value for starting quarterbacks is $20 million. When you look at the mean of the highest paid quarterbacks, or starters, and then the lowest paid guys. And Baker played for $4 million last year, throw in some incentives that he hit. Okay, 7. That's still $13 million in his mind. He's got to make up, because that window of earnings is only open so long and so wide in the league. So the other thing about Atlanta, and I'm not anticipating him going to Atlanta, but I can't look at the Falcons and say, oh no, he'll never go there. I mean, if they offer more money, they've got a pair of good tight ends. If they get Jonnu Smith back, Pitts and Smith are good weapons. They've got a stable of running backs. Tyler Algier was a 1,000-yard guy. Then they draft Bijan Robinson, who's an even better back. You've got Drake London, who is, I'm not going to say he's the next coming of Mike Evans, but that's what the Falcons were hoping when they drafted him. He's a good receiver. And then, you add some more pieces this year. Atlanta's not a bad option. And then you look at the fact that if we're just calling it, like we see it, Todd Bowles was a game or two away from being fired this year, right? Yes. If they lose in week 18 to the worst team in the league, they finish 8-9, he's fired. And Raheem Morris just signed a new multi-year contract in Atlanta. And we know that the owner there, Arthur Blank, gave Arthur Smith 3 years of going 7-10, 7-10, and 7-10 before firing him.
Yeah.
So, is it safe to say that Raheem Morris, the newly hired Raheem Morris, has more job security than Todd Bowles, who's won back-to-back NFC South championships? Yeah. Like, it is legitimate to say that.
I agree.
So it's not to say that Atlanta doesn't have some intrigue and some enticement there for Baker Mayfield. I think he wants to be here, but if the numbers are like starkly different, right, in terms of what the Bucs are offering and what other teams end up offering, then you feel a little slighted. Maybe you're like, wait a minute, why are these other teams that haven't played it down for?
He's not going anywhere.
He's not. I agree with you. But the thing is like you can't just sit there and say he's automatically coming back.
I get it.
There will be other teams that and see, here's the thing. The biggest threat of other teams getting into the fray next Monday, if he's not signed this week, is the price tag goes up for the Buccaneers. And then that squeezes the Bucs. It hurts them from a cap standpoint because they want Baker back, but they want him back, like I said, at X, not Y, and certainly not Z. Right. So the more teams that bid the price for Baker Mayfield up, even if they don't get him, it's not helping the Buccaneers' cause.
Yeah, I get that, but I still don't see him getting away. And
I don't either.
I think it's going to end up really nice for Buck fans. What are you thinking about Antoine Winfield Jr.? And I got to check the X machine every 5 minutes because I think it's going to get done today. What do you think?
It could. It's not done yet. I just received a text saying.
Hang on. What did Jason say?
It's not Jason.
He's reading his text.
It's Antoine. He just texted him directly.
I should.
Yeah, but you got business to
a
do.
lot of times when you text players directly, they're just like, I don't know, just waiting for my agent to tell me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting to hear like you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we can entertain the people if you need to take a quick break.
Yeah,
and go back and forth.
Text and we'll see what happens. So
right.
if I
can't do two things at once.
Here, but
I always can't do two things at once. I was trying to text you, and you texted me. I just tell the people, excuse me for a moment. I've got to do something.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I cannot.
I'm trying not to fake it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I will say this. I think that it's a no-brainer. He gets tagged if that's the case, because you don't want too many irons in the fire in terms of having too many guys that you want to re-sign hit free agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, at least that's a placeholder in it. It's one less guy you got to worry about. Right now, the focus is on Antoine Winfield Jr. getting that deal done before free agency. But guess what? If they don't come to terms by 4:00, they'll franchise tag him. Then he gets back burnered a little bit. Then you focus on Baker Mayfield with these remaining days, right? Levante David probably has to go through what he did last year, which is wait in line.
Yeah.
And
he's okay with that, thank God.
He's okay with that. Yeah. I mean, I think he wants a deal. I think, he wants to feel the love and all of that. But at the same time, it's like, I think he's also smart enough to realize that you want to come back and play with Kyle Trask as the quarterback, or do you want to be on the team with Baker Mayfield? So hold on, Levante. Let's get our priorities straight here. We want you back, but we got to tend to Baker first.
All right, you were at the combine all last week.
Yep.
What's give me your top 3 things that you got out of the combine.
Interesting that the Buccaneers so they have 45 formal visits. Those formal visits can last 18 minutes in length. They include general manager Jason Light and head coach Todd Bowles. The biggest takeaway for me was they spent 10 formal visits with offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me they're going to draft an offensive lineman early, maybe in round 1, maybe Duke's Graham Barton, who we had in our last mock draft prior to the combine at number 26. He is, to me, man, he is like Ali Marpet 2.0.
Yeah.
He is a left tackle at Duke, smart guy, mauler, smart, but also kind of a meathead, like Hulk smash, like must kill defensive lineman in front of me, but I mean, very cerebral at the same time, but just kind of has that like hulking presence, get a key a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, and he fits the mold, left tackle, move inside to play guard, that kind of thing. And they needed a left guard. He's played center. He's also played left tackle. So I think that he is a player that they're very interested in. There were 10 offensive linemen, like I said. Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon, the center. He won't be there, but they did interview him.
Mm-hmm.
So I anticipate 1 or 2 offensive linemen being drafted just based upon the sheer number of formal visits. And I'd say the second takeaway was they had 4 formal interviews with quarterbacks, and they interviewed 5 altogether. Devin Leary got an informal interview, and the 4 quarterbacks that did receive formal interviews, Michael Penix from Washington, J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. Those are 2 guys that should be there at 26, right? And maybe they're the backup plan in case something happens with Baker.
Right.
The other 2 guys, Michael Pratt from Tulane, who I really like, and then Spencer Rattler, who's kind of like a little bit of a Baker Mayfield to him, right? Kind of like knocked for having a bad attitude earlier in his career, and maybe misunderstood type quarterback, rocket arm, developing touch, turns the ball over a little bit too much, but not going to go number 1 overall. I mean, I'm not really comparing Spencer Rattler in college to Baker Mayfield in college. He was the Heisman Trophy winner and, took Oklahoma to new heights and all of that. But just kind of like the post-Cleveland Baker Mayfield has got some similarities to the South Carolina Spencer Rattler. and they're both similarly built, 6 foot, 215. Some mobility, not a scrambler per se. And so he's an interesting prospect. Then, of course, Devin Leary from Kentucky spent that last year with Liam Cohen. And it might be a thing, too, where, John Wolford doesn't return, right? And he might want to go somewhere else. And Devin Leary might be John Wolford 2.0, where you've got a guy that you spend a 7th-round draft pick on, and he at least knows the system. It's an easy transition. He's QB3. Maybe he pushes Kyle Trask. And if he pushes Kyle Trask, then that's a red flag about Kyle Trask.
Right, exactly.
But that's probably the second takeaway. And then I would say the third takeaway is just the sheer level of confidence that Jason Light kind of displayed. He didn't really seem worried that these guys were going to leave in free agency. And I said this on our podcast last night, our Pewter Report podcast. You look at the report card, and the Bucs got the bad grades, and the bugs in the shower and all that type of stuff. Charging money to babysit the kids on game day, the F's across the board, whatever. Listen, you want to know about your franchise? I'm going to rattle off a couple of facts for you, Tampa Bay. Okay, number 1, 4 straight playoff appearances, Super Bowl, and 3 division championships.
Yes.
Okay, not bad considering that the Bucs used to be the doormat in the NFC South for years. I mean, for like over a decade, right?
And the NFC North.
In the NFC North. Well said, Tim. Well said.
Yeah.
The other thing is this. You look at Jason Light's track record from 2014 to now, that's 10 years. He's going on year 11. He has not let a free agent that he's wanted to re-sign go. Outside of like Russell Shepard, who he would have loved to have had back, right, as a special teams kind of core guy, but like, okay, if you lose Russell, not the end of the world. But I mean, if you ask him, he's like, yeah, I really want a Russell Gage back. Or not Russell Gage, Russell Shepard. But Shepard got like $1 million to go play in Carolina, try to be wide receiver 3 there. You know what I'm saying? Not a big deal. My point is this. You look at all of the players that have re-signed with the Buccaneers, right? If this organization was so bad, right? If the Glazers were bad owners and Todd Bowles was not a player's coach, nobody would want to A, come here, and then B, they'd want to leave here. But they end up staying here. They end up re-signing here.
Mike Evans wouldn't have re-signed if there were that many bugs in the shower. And was
exactly. Yes. I mean, just give him a can of Raid and just have him spray the cloth. That's all you got to do. So I'm just saying, it's I know that got a lot of traction at the combine. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, the Bucs are a bad franchise." Okay, you want to focus on the little minutia about the meals and stuff. I don't know, man. I don't see a lot of players that are starving over there at One Buck Place. I mean, they're eating the food.
That's all NFL
well enough to win championships. I don't know. I trust Jason Light and Mike Greenberg and Jackie Davidson implicitly to do deals, to get contracts done. And it's a well-oiled machine over there. You got John Spytek, running the film with Jason and looking at the players. And they're going to find some value free agents. They're going to find the next Shaq Barrett, the next Baker Mayfield. They're really good at finding some of those one-year prove-it deal guys, and I expect that they'll probably find a guy or two on the offensive line or an edge rusher to fit that bill. And again, the level of confidence that Jason had, and he's a terrible poker player. I mean, my God, I'd love to play poker with the guy. His poker face is awful, and I've told him that to his face. He like laughs it off, but seriously, it's like he kind of knew these guys want to come back. And when you want to come back, you don't have to overpay. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to be in hot pursuit. You come to the table, and they want to come to the table. And you hammer out a deal that's fair. I thought the Mike Evans deal was incredibly fair to both sides. Yeah. I expect the Baker Mayfield deal to be pretty fair. I think they're going to have to strain a little bit because he's a quarterback and he's not homegrown. He's a little bit of a hired gun last year, but I think he wants to. He's gonna have a kid. He wants to settle down. Tampa, as we all know, Tim, maybe not you, but it's a nice place. It's a nice place to live.
It's better than Minneapolis, and it's better than Atlanta.
It's better than Cleveland
on that.
And much better than Cleveland.
Yeah, and there's known things here. Like he knows Mike Evans. I talked about this yesterday at length, and I think that one of the biggest things, because I do believe the signing of Mike Evans means that Baker's going to be here, and I do believe that Antoine Winfield will. I think they get them all back, like you've said, like you predicted. And to me, but to me, Mike was. I didn't think he was going to go anywhere, but there was a lot of smoke about Houston and every place else, and I was like,
I've been on record saying he's going to be the first guy to resign.
Right, exactly. And once that happened, and in a 2-year deal, which I think is extremely team friendly, team friendly. So that to me, that was like, you know what this does? It sets it up for the Bucs to not have the dip. The dip that the NFL demands, because if you win, you get punished. And to see 4 years straight into the playoffs, and now you're reloading. You have a quarterback now that when you get Baker back, you are ready to win for another 4 or 5 years. And to be that consistent in this league is freaking impossible.
I agree.
Jason Light's going to get it done. And Buck fans ought to be throwing a freaking party because – now Baker could get hurt, and they could, Mike could get hurt. And
here's what needs to happen. Right to your point, I'm going to stop you real quick. Here's what has to happen now, and I wrote about this, and it blew up the internet last week at the Combine. When the Bucs drafted Kyle Trask, the process was sound. Okay, the pick wasn't. He wasn't the guy. I get it, right? But if you were to tell me that if Kyle Trask would have been somewhere between a Jordan Love, who was a first rounder, and somewhere between a Brock Purdy, who was a 7th rounder, right? So he was the last pick in the 2nd round, kind of like a 3rd round guy, essentially, right? If Kyle Trask had been if he had been Jordan Love or Brock Purdy, where you step in and you're like, holy smokes, man, this guy, whoa, it's good, right? The Green Bay Packers are the envy of the league. They're going on about 40 years with 3 quarterbacks: Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Okay, that is a dream scenario, to have that type of longevity and sustained excellence at the quarterback position. Favre won a championship. Rodgers won a championship. Who knows what's in store for Love? But man, the Packers aren't going to be taking a dip, right? Brock Purdy was drafted in the 7th round with the Mr. Irrelevant pick 1 year after they moved up to get Trey Lance. Right, that was like almost a throwaway pick by John Lynch, saying, "Well, we need a backup quarterback." Okay, well, you hit the lottery, and the guy that you traded up for stinks, and he's moved on. But man, you got your guy in Brock Purdy. I think this team now, by locking up Baker Mayfield, you can't expect to hit on a quarterback every time you draft one. Lord knows this franchise has never done that. Okay, you've never seen Buccaneer quarterback re-sign that has been drafted here. The only type of quarterbacks that have had success in Tampa have been free agents, right? Now, I'm going to discount 1979 with Doug Williams. Okay, I'm saying the modern era. It's been Brad Johnson winning a Super Bowl, Brian Griese winning the 2005 NFC Championship, teaming up with Chris Sims that year after he got hurt. Jeff Garcia in 2007, Tom Brady in 2020, right? Baker Mayfield this past year. So it's been free agents. But you can't sit there and draft Jameis Winston in 2015 and then Kyle Trask in 2021 and have 2 quarterbacks selected within a 10-year span, right? You can't do that. You have to draft a quarterback just about at least 3 years, if not every other year. So you can hit on a guy. You never know what injuries are going to happen. I mean, potential season-ending injuries, potential career-ending injuries. You don't know. It's the most important position in football. If you have one, you have a chance. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance, right? So I would like to see Jason Light draft a quarterback this year, have him compete with Kyle Trask, and maybe even like a 3rd or 4th round pick, a legitimate guy, a guy that maybe has some potential starting ability to be that handoff guy, or the season's not over, we can put in X quarterback if Baker Mayfield gets hurt. The other thing is, now's the time to groom the next Mike Evans. Spend a premium pick on a wide receiver. Why? Well, you need 3 if you're going to have a good offense, right? Yeah. Tampa Bay only averaged 21 points per game last year. They were averaging 30 points per game when they had 3 wide receivers, including AB, right?
3 number ones.
So you need another guy. You need a legit guy. It's not Trey Palmer. He might be a great number 4. He might develop into a good number 3 in time. He's not it right now. Chris Godwin's in a contract year. You just re-signed Mike, but only for 2 years. He'll be 31 in August, right? The warning lights are flashing. You're about to have 0 wide receivers in your team in 2 years. So you need to draft a guy. Remember, what was that awesome role model and great wide receiver that signed in free agency, Vincent Jackson? Remember him?
Yeah.
They had Vincent Jackson here. And if you ask Mike Evans today, why did you become a pros pro? Well, he had the pros pro to look at in Vincent Jackson. So why not draft a Keon Coleman from Florida State, a Brian Thomas from LSU?
You're talking first round?
Even in the first round.
Wow.
And groom that guy. Give him 2 years of seeing how Mike operates.
Yeah.
And then hopefully if you have the right pick from a talent standpoint, then you got Mike's eventual replacement.
Wow.
And this offense can continue. And while Mike is here and Chris is here and Keon or Brian or whoever's here, you got a more explosive offense.
I like it. Scotty, appreciate your time as always. I know you got some work to do. We got a IndyCar driver giving us a ring, so we're going to move on to that. And we thank you so much. Pewter Report.
Man.
By the way, guys, if you have not listened to, go back and listen to all their podcasts from last week. I've listened to every one of them. Awesome stuff at the Combine. You guys crushed it. Go to the website.
Thank you.
All great stuff. Your
Pewter Report TV at YouTube channel.
Yes.
We got a podcast coming up today live at 4:00. Same thing on Wednesday and Thursday. So Monday through Thursday.
Breaking news, and there'll be breaking news. So tune in today at 4:00. Trust me on that. Thanks, Scotty. Appreciate it, buddy. All right. I love that. I love that take on the wide receiver, because it's become a premium position. I'd love to see an interior offensive lineman, but they got stopped. Is Linus on the line?
He is.
Oh,
you want him now?
Yeah, I'm on the line.
Let's go. Linus Lundqvist joining us here. Chip Ganassi Racing, getting ready to do the St. Pete Grand Prix. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. How are you doing?
We are great. We've been talking football all morning, so it's good to talk a little IndyCar. IndyCar Tim here is with me. That's his actual handle, IndyCar Tim.
It is. It is. I'm a big fan, Linus.
Perfect. Yeah, that's my type of crowd.
So congrats on the new ride with Chip Ganassi as we start this new IndyCar season. You must be so freaking stoked to get ready to roll on this course. I don't even know how this. Have you seen it yet? Have you driven it yet? How excited are you for this week?
Yeah, firstly, thank you very much. Incredibly excited to get this season rolling. I love coming to St. Pete. I've been going here for the past 2 years in the series below IndyCar called IndyNext, and I got a couple of podiums, so I've got some fond memories of this place. But it's going to be a different deal being in the big cars and the big league in IndyCar. And it's always so competitive around that place because it's a fairly short lap, and the walls are closed, so adrenaline's going to be high.
Yeah, and you've raced this course before. You've raced here before. By the way, you were the NXT champion, right?
Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah. So congratulations on that. And you've raced with a couple of different teams. This isn't going to be your first ride in IndyCar. I know you were a fill-in driver. Way back in my IndyCar days, we had a driver, Roberto Moreno. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. We called him the super sub because anywhere he went and he filled in for anybody, he won, and he always performed well. Well, you were kind of a super sub there for Andretti Autosport, for Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan back in the day. How satisfying is it now for you not just to be up in IndyCar with a full-time ride, but to be in IndyCar with a full-time ride with a top-tier team like Chip Ganassi?
Nah, it's unbelievable. You mentioned, I tested for some of the teams, over the last few years and winning the Indy NXT championship. Obviously, I hoped to be in IndyCar full-time already last year. That didn't happen, so I did some testing with some other teams, and then I got the opportunity to even do a couple of races with Mayershank Racing. And then for this year, signing full-time with Chip Ganassi Racing is more than I could have wished for, because the dream was always to be on the grid, but to do it with a team like Chip Ganassi Racing, it was better than I could have dreamt of. So trying to make the most out of it and, trying to produce some good results there for Chip.
Yeah, and I've met Chip Ganassi a number of times out here at Texas Motor Speedway. Maybe I'll get a chance to hook up with you at some point out here at Texas when you guys ever get here. But Chip's just a super sweetheart of a guy. Of course, a former driver. He's a driver friendly owner, and he's always looking out for his guys. And you could not be, and you know what, I know Michael too. Michael's kind of the same way. He's a little bit more of a hardcore guy than Chip is, but you could not be in better hands with a guy like Chip Ganassi as your owner for your first full-time ride, man. I hope you understand that. I know you do, but I hope you understand that.
Yeah, no, I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity that I have. And like I said, just being in this team, not to speak about my teammates, having, Scott Dixon and, the current champion, Alex Palou, teammates to learn from as a rookie. I mean, what other place would you want to be? So I'm incredibly, incredibly excited to get the season rolling and trying to learn as much as I can. But at the same time, I'm here to win. I'm here to perform. So I'm trying to make the best of it.
And you're driving the number 11 car. Is that correct for Chip?
No, the number 8.
You're in number 8. Sorry, yeah.
Exactly. The number 8 American Legion Honda.
Nice. Very nice.
Hey, Linus, when you drive St. Pete, it's obviously a beautiful course by the water down through downtown. What makes that course different or difficult? I hear a lot of guys say it's a gorgeous one, but it can be difficult as well. What makes it special or different?
It is very, very tricky. First of all, it's tricky because it's a street course, so you have basically no rooms for mistake. Because if you make a mistake, you're not running a little bit wide on like you do on a regular road course. But here you're hitting a wall, a cement wall. Firstly, that's it, and then the intersection of this track is incredibly tight and narrow and incredibly bumpy as well. Yeah. So, it takes all of the challenges and kind of multiplies it by 10. And then you're going to do it for, the races. I think we're up to 100 laps. So it's a long race as well. So you're going to be doing this for above 2 hours without trying to make a mistake. And that's, I think, what makes it so tough. And then you add a little bit of heat and humidity on top of that. Oh, you're in for a long race.
Linus Lundqvist joining us here, driver of the number 8 American Legion Honda. When I was doing some research on you, I saw you're from Stockholm, Sweden. You're 24 years old, soon to be 25. Now, we know somebody here locally that came from Stockholm that is a hero here, a guy by the name of Victor Hedman, who plays for the Lightning.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Victor, now, he's a legend, right? Have you met Victor?
I've never met him, but I know of him, obviously. Like I said, he's a legend, even in even in Sweden, I'd say, but obviously in Sweden.
Well, I'm sure I know he's a fan of racing, and I'm pretty sure some smart person is going to put you guys together this week at some point. If it doesn't happen, I'll make sure it does happen because they're home. We're home on a long homestand, and I'm sure he would love to meet you as well. So, are you a hockey fan at all, or you're just driving IndyCar?
That would be awesome to get to meet him. I wouldn't claim myself to be a major hockey fan, but obviously growing up in Sweden, it was kind of mandatory that, we played hockey. So I'm a former hockey player, so I have a little bit of knowledge and I follow it occasionally.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to get you guys together. I'm sure he would be interested because the hockey players are very interested in the other sports. So I'm sure he would. Maybe you can give him a ride in that test car where you can put somebody in the back.
Two-seater.
Yeah. I bet he would. I bet he would love
Mario
that.
out of it. Maybe you can drive it.
Although he is 6'6", he is 6'6", so I don't even know if he's going to fit in that sucker.
He can sit on top.
I'm sure we'll find a way.
Yeah, he can sit on top. He's a hockey player, man. He can do whatever he wants. Linus, growing up over in Stockholm and in Europe, you probably didn't do a lot of oval racing growing up until you got over here to the States. What are your thoughts on oval racing compared to the road races and the street circuits?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I did no oval racing until about 2 years ago when I first came to IndyCar and Indy Lights, and I absolutely fell in love with it basically from day one. I think it's awesome. The one thing that I really learned, very early on is that it's one challenge to drive fast over one lap, but it's a totally different challenge to be good in race trim and racecraft. That is the big challenge. And I think no matter how many years you do in racing, you can never perfect it. So it's something that you're constantly working on. But again, I'm very grateful to be in the position of having, somebody like Scott Dixon as my teammate who is, a bit of a specialist on the ovals who obviously I'm going to lean towards come the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get into, Linus. So with a full-time ride now, you've got an opportunity to race in the Indy 500 for the first time. That's growing up over in Europe, I know that the Indy 500 race was probably legendary. I don't know if you ever thought you'd get a chance to race in it, but with Chip Ganassi and the wins that he's got and being Scott Dixon's teammate, that's just got to mean the world to you. What are your thoughts on your first Indy 500 coming up here in the month of May?
Yeah, honestly, just hearing those words saying that I'm going to be at the Indianapolis 500, it just makes me smile. So excited, and like you said, like growing up, it was one of the races that you dreamt of. Yeah. Personally attending, just watching as a fan. But to actually line up, and obviously, I grew up watching. Kenny Breck won the championship the year that I was born, and obviously won the 500.
Oh wow!
Around the same time, so having a Swede winning it and then Marcus Ericsson winning it for Chip Ganassi Racing only a few years ago, things like that puts it, even closer to home, and you want to, put your name amongst them too.
Very nice. I'm a big Indy 500 fan. Obviously, I went to 26 races in a row and qualifying and stuff like that way back, going back to the 80s. And, I think my last year there was 2002 and haven't been back since. Would love to go back. Maybe if I'm back this year, I'd love to see you. I'd love to chit chat with you, man.
100%. Yeah. You got to hit me up when you're out there.
Absolutely.
So Linus, as you get going in this season with Chip Ganassi, I mean, you got it. I'm sure you're doing a lot of media. It's going to be an interesting experience for you. Anything you're looking forward to doing in St. Pete other than racing? I know you've been here before and you've raced. Do you have any favorite restaurants? Anything you like to do in the St. Pete area?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, just getting there because I love generally the whole St. Pete area. I don't remember the name of it, but there's a restaurant down by the pier, just on the corner, that I go to every single year. So probably my family's coming over, so we're probably having dinner there once or twice. But I think just maybe getting away from this Indianapolis weather, where it's gray and cold at the moment. I think that is just going to be one of the major things. And then I know as soon as the racing starts, come Thursday and come Friday, our first practice sessions, we're just going to be so focused on just performance and trying to find a little bit of speed on track. So, I'm flying down a day or two early with some media appearances and stuff like that. So it'll be good to enjoy the weather for a little bit.
And Linus, I got to ask you, I'm sure you're an F1 fan as well. I'm just starting to get into that part of the racing as well. And I just, I've been covering sports for 40 years, and I'm not used to a sport where the same dude wins every week. I mean, we go the first race, the dude doesn't even lose the lead in the pit. Like, how do other drivers look at Verstappen and like what he's doing right now? Is this like Michael Jordan-esque? Like, how do you compare that to what Verstappen is doing right now in F1?
That's a great question. How, where do you put his performances? Because the thing is that in I think especially F1 in all of motor racing, but you got to have the package where, the driver and the car needs to be good together. And I think they've just hit the nail on the head and hit the sweet spot where obviously Max is very in tune with the car, because if you say it's just the car, but then you look at his teammates, with Perez, who obviously did well and finished second, but he's not nowhere near as dominant as Max is. So, I think it can be a little bit stagnant for a viewer to see the same guy win every single time. But I think as a competitor, it just drives you because you want to be that guy, right? Yeah. And because he's doing it, you know that it's possible.
Well, Linus, you're an up-and-comer in IndyCar. Who knows where your career is going, but I'm certainly going to follow you. I'm going to come see you this week out there, say hello, introduce myself, and I'm going to start working on seeing if Victor's coming over and putting you two together, because I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I agree. And definitely hit me up when you're out there. You're going to see me walking around in my red, white, and blue American Legion racing suit. So
love it.
That's awesome. All
right, Linus, thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it. We'll see you in St. Pete here this weekend. Thanks, buddy.
Can't wait. Thank you very much, guys.
Linus Lundqvist, great young racer. I mean, he's got just incredible talent. Doing the limited research I could do on him, and he's just in a A great looking young kid. He's very, as you just heard, very affable. And I mean, he's got star written all over him.
He has excelled at every level that he has raced at. And I'm not surprised that he's got him a full-time ride. And keep in mind, Chip Ganassi Racing, as you heard me mention, dude, they're one of the top teams, right? It's Penske, Andretti Autosport, and Chip Ganassi. And for him, for his first ride in IndyCar, full-time ride, to be with Chip Ganassi, one of the big three, man, there is no better opportunity for him to succeed than right now. And I think it's amazing. It's a good opportunity. I'm really proud of him. Yeah,
that's going to be so. And we just got my credentials. We're all set to go this weekend. So you'll be jealous, Timmy.
I will be, man, because dude, there's no better experience than IndyCar. It's amazing. I've been to F1 races. I love F1. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I have a passion for F1 as well, and I appreciate NASCAR for what it is. But man, there's no better experience than the full access you get, especially with your credentials now.
Yeah,
to IndyCar drivers and to that whole experience, man. It is a big deal. And St. Pete is a great experience, man. It's a great track.
It's a beautiful track. It's and it just what a look it is for St. Pete. I mean, just the coverage, the aerial coverage. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And not to get off topic, but it's one of the reasons that St. Pete does not need a baseball stadium.
Right.
It's the stupidest thing you could have. Expenditure wise, just dumb. Don't need it. But this is an incredible week for St. Petersburg and what they get to show off, show the world. It's really cool, and I can't wait to get in the vibe again. It's been a couple of years since I've been over there, but I definitely want to get in the vibe of it and feel, because there for racing, and you know this, Tim. You gotta feel it, you gotta smell it, you gotta see it. I mean, it's an immersive, sensual experience. It doesn't. I think you talk about sports that don't translate to TV. Yeah. Racing to me is one of them. I mean, because you look at a NASCAR race, you turn it on, you're just like, okay, it's like it's just here. They just go to Daytona and get in the first turn at about lap 3 when they get up to full speed, and it's 43 cars nose to tail going 200 miles an hour coming right at you, and you will feel it in your undercarriage, if you know what I'm saying. And it's special. It's really, really special. And it's the same thing with IndyCar. I actually rode in one of those, the ride along car.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
About 10 years ago. And I'm going to tell you what, man, I was ready to hit the first thing the driver told me was, that's the ejector seat. The first rule is don't touch that. But, I mean, it is when you hit the first couple of turns, and to me, I was like, I mean, it was tough, but once I relaxed and got into it, it's the most exhilarating thing I think I've ever experienced. It was incredible. I mean, the G forces that you're pulling, but the speed when they come around that turn onto the tarmac of the airport and they hit the gas in the straightaway and get up to, I don't know, I think they get up to about 170, 180 in about
on a tarmac.
I mean, you just, I mean, it's incredible. And then they going through the turns where you're heading for a concrete wall. Like Linus said, when you make a mistake, you're not going off into the grass.
Nope.
It's going to cost you your team some money, because you're going to smash that car up. And
those brick walls don't give, man. No, I'm telling you, those concrete barriers do not give.
And then, you're sitting in the back seat, and this guy's driving, and you're kind of sitting up over him. You can see over him, right?
Yeah. And
you're coming for a concrete wall at about, at those about 90 miles an hour, and you're sitting there hitting the imaginary brake. It's on your
doesn't work.
You're pushing down on the carriage of the car, and it's like, hey, it's not. Why aren't we braking? Why are we? That wall is coming up really fast, and you whip around that turn, dude. It is, and even if you're not right, if you're just watching it, it's breathtaking. It is absolutely breathtaking. And I tell you, if you don't have tickets for this, and if you've never seen it and you've never experienced it, get your ass out there, because it is something. It's something else. And if you're a football fan, whatever you're sporting, you look at racing and you're like, well, trust me. When you have a chance to see it in person and feel it, and you can get up really, really close in St. Pete. I mean, really, really close. Do it.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it. It's worth it. It is worth the money. It's worth the effort. I know parking, all that stuff. Do it. I haven't checked.
Yeah, it's not something you'll forget. And I'll tell you, JP, I know you haven't. I know you've been to St. Pete to see the IndyCar race, but going to Indy.
Oh, I want to do that.
The Indy 500, dude.
It's on a bucket list.
That's a whole nother level. You're there with 400,000 other people, and the size of the track at 2.5 miles. Literally anywhere you can be stationed on the track. They're passing you at any point doing from 240 to 200 miles an hour, 190 around the turns. Oh, the 7-degree, and it's 7-degree banking. It's not like NASCAR where they got this huge banking, right? It's 7 degrees at Indy, and they don't lift. The goal when they set their cars up, you don't lift off the gas. It's pedal to the metal the entire time around the track, and it's something to behold, and it will change your life seriously.
Yeah, I can't. I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to Indy 500. I've never been to Indy, but definitely want to get an opportunity to go do that one time too. Wait, that's in July, right?
Into May, Memorial Day weekend. Yeah,
Memorial Day weekend, into May. So the weather's still okay, or is it's getting hot?
Man, you know what? In Indianapolis, or it's actually, so the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is its own city. It has its own zip code.
Really?
Speedway, Indiana is the actual name of the town that it's in. It's right out, and it's encompassed by Indianapolis, but it's got its own town. But it can be anywhere from. I've gone to qualifying before when it was 40 degrees, and I've gone to qualifying before in the race when it was 95 degrees.
Yeah,
you never know what you're going to get when you go. So it's a crapshoot.
Weather's going to be real nice this weekend, by the way, for this St. Pete Grand Prix. Highs in the upper 70s. And low 80s, 79, 82, a high on Friday, Saturday, 82. No real chance, a 30% chance of rain on Saturday, but that's just the usual. And so the humidity is going to be low. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. Right. So get out there and enjoy. We've also got the Aramco Series team event this weekend as well. Brittany Lincecum, Lexi Thompson, and the Ladies European Tour is going to be in town at Feather Sound, which is going to be a tremendous event. I'm playing in the Pro-Am on Thursday.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no. Yeah. Literally looking forward to that. It's going to be fun because the course is just set up so beautifully. And it's a great opportunity. Women get in free on Friday, I believe. But just go to the Aramco Series team event. Just Google it. They have a website here to get your tickets. Very reasonable. It's going to be a great setup. So especially if you got a young girl that's into golf. I believe young girls are free as well. Check the website. I'll get all that information for you. But I think that's free as well. So very inexpensive to get tickets and see these ladies play, and they can flat out play. And it's going to be a 3-person, 3 pros and an amateur, which is kind of a different setup. Yeah. So we're going to have probably one of the golfers on. I think Lexi Thompson is going to join us tomorrow. And we had Brittany on last week. Brittany Lincecum, we'll get her on again. We'll be doing a live event out there on Friday, so we'll be going live from the event on Friday. So we should have all kinds of guests stopping by. Jane Geddes is going to join us, former U.S. Open winner, and Geddes Gordon Group for all your real estate needs. She will join us. We'll talk some real estate and talk some golf. So we got Johnny Gerber coming up to talk a little golf, right?
We do. Should have probably already been on, right?
Well, we got 11. Let's do a break. We'll come back and we'll get Johnny on, and TJ's coming up as well. Lots more coming your way. We got breaking news all around the NFL. The Panthers have just made a big move. The Giants have just made a big move. So 3-minute break. We'll be back. We'll get you caught up on all that and how it affects the Buccaneers here on the JP Pearson Show. Stay with us.
The Strike. 102.5 WHPT, HD2 Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Start the new year with a new diamond from the Gold and Diamond Source. It's still engagement season. Where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? Of course, I just got mine there. I'm engaged. You should do the same thing. Let's go. Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country. A literal jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. And if you have a loved one or a special person in your life who has a birthday this month, maybe you have an anniversary coming up, you can get 15% off the January birthstone, which is garnet, as in garnet and gold for all your Seminoles. Celebrate that mythical national championship. And it's the Gold and Diamond Source's 40th anniversary. For the past 40 years, they have taken pride in offering only natural diamonds formed over billions of years from the Earth's incredible forces. And gold prices are at an all-time high. Now's your chance to turn your jewelry box into a cash machine. It's the perfect time to trade in your broken or unworn pieces for something new and stunning. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the J.P. Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Synovus Bank. Just walked by the downtown location across from Amalie Arena just the other day, where my good friend John Acosta works. He's been in banking since 1983 here locally. Lots of folks that work at Synovus. The managers there have been working here for a long time in different bank groups, but now with Synovus, and they're going to give you that local feel, that small bank feel from a big bank. So head on in there. If you need to move your business banking there or your personal banking there, Synovus.com. Ask for John Acosta or ask for any of the great folks there, and they will treat you the way you deserve to be treated with that little bank feel. That's SynovusBank.com. Check them out. All right, let's talk some golf with our good friend John Gerber, PGA Pro. What's up, Johnny? How are you?
I like other guys.
What's up, fellas? How are you?
Oh, Timmy's already got the drops in there.
I like other guys.
Yes, you
I wish I picked a few other guys this week in the tournament in West Palm for sure. But yeah,
you didn't have Austin Eckroot, 101 in the world, winning his first tournament at the PGA National. Come on, man.
Unfortunately not. But I promise you this, we will have him on our card kind of moving forward through the year after the way that he played. I mean, listen, from tee to green, how good was that guy? I mean, it was as good of a ball striking performance that I've seen in a long time. He looked flawless, coming down that stretch, a first-time winner. And if you looked at that leaderboard, all those guys, with the exception of Shane Lowry, which, I think if he plays there again, he might get hit by lightning because he has the worst luck on that place I've ever seen. Because, you look 2 years ago when he almost got blown over off the tee when they had that weather that came in and he was about to win the tournament. And then this year getting stuck in the worst of the waves and the rain delays and stuff like that. Boy, the devil's chasing that guy for sure when it comes to that tournament, man. So Austin Eckler coming down the stretch, not winning. Boy, he looked flawless. And when he came out of that break for the weather delay, he made three birdies out of 6 holes, and he looked strong.
Well, that's the thing about the PGA Tour now. We got guys coming from nowhere, and forgive me, but I'd never heard of that dude. I never heard of the guy who finished second, Eric Van Rooyen.
Yeah,
leaderboard looked like, again, not a PGA Tour leaderboard. Rory played, which was great, and he was kind of in the hunt for a little while. But for the most part, kind of unspectacular to watch, Johnny. And we're getting a lot of this on the PGA Tour. That changes this week at Bay Hill. Signature event. I get that. And we'll get to that. But that was unspectacular to say the least, in my opinion.
And you said it, and we talked about a couple of weeks ago that, is the PGA Tour suffering from people living and, not being a signature event and potentially falling into a place on the schedule that doesn't sometimes work, especially with Bay Hill signature event and then next week at the Players. But, Van Rooyen had won on the PGA Tour before. He's a South African guy. He's not, he's not heralded at all. And, that big name that they really needed in Rory McIlroy to potentially, get some of the audience there. He just didn't perform. And we talked about that. We bet against him on Sunday. It's just because if Rory doesn't get off to a hot start in the last round, not having the potential to win, he kind of mails it in a little bit because he's thinking about the next week. But him shooting 68 the last round is 3 under was pretty good. But we had him matched up against Cam Young, who I really liked this week at Bay Hill. He shot 66. So we did go 4-1 on matchups, but unfortunately we didn't cash a ticket.
But the matchups will make you some money, which you've done really, really well at. All right, so let's look ahead to this week at not far from where I am right now at Bay Hill. Signature event, great field. It's the list of winners on this is the cream of the crop. This really does kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak, right? Talk. Who are your favorites this week? Who do you like?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, with the exception of maybe last year, Kurt Kitayama winning, not one of the big favorites. If you had him on your card, in which we didn't, he paid you about $12,500 to win that tournament. So he was 125 to 1. But I don't see that this week. I think being such a signature event, I mean, the API certainly gets the crowds and certainly gets the big name players just because of Arnold. It's a bit like the Memorial with Jack. Yeah. A little early to say. I think I'm looking at the weather. Weather plays a big factor here, whether this golf course plays firm or whether it plays soft. Bay Hill is one of those places. It's a little bigger ballpark than they had last week. So I think the guys who hit the ball far will have an advantage this week as opposed that they didn't last week. And we talked about that. It's more of a strategic golf course. But this week, I really like the way Cam Young's playing. We had him on our card last week and we talked about him. He just had a terrible third round that it just didn't push him in there. But coming off a 66 in the last round, I think he's going to build some momentum with going into Bay Hill. And, he's one of the longer guys on the PGA Tour, and it sets up great for him. I mean, where's Victor Hovland been? I mean, I think maybe this is the time where Victor Hovland, it's a great golf course for him. He loves it. The par fives, he certainly can reach all the par fives and it's not a very difficult place to chip around. It's not. And, through the years, that's kind of been his bugaboo is chipping. But I think around this place, I don't think it's very difficult to chip compared to some of the other places. And maybe look at a guy like Matthew Fitzpatrick, who has really gained some length over the last few years. Ball striking seems to come on board a little bit after last week. He played really solid last week. He was stuck in that really terrible wave that they got the really bad weather, but kind of persevered. So maybe look at those guys initially to come on. We'll see. Looks like the weather is going to be really good. And watch a hole. It shows it a lot. Watch that the sixth hole, the par 5. That kind of, even though it's on the front side, it plays a pivotal part. If you look a few years ago, Bryson DeChambeau almost drove the par 5. Yeah. It's that dog leg left over water. But they need to birdie that hole so they can get some momentum to kind of move themselves into that back 9, which plays significantly tougher than the front. So 6 potentially could be a pivotal hole, and see how many guys kind of cut that corner and see how confident they are in their game. I really like watching that 6th hole out there at Bay Hill.
Well, your boy Van Rooyen is plus 8,000 this week, so that might be a value pick. Chris Kirk plus 6,000, Kurt Kitayama plus 6,600, according to BetMGM. So there's some value picks for you. McIlroy's plus 900. He's won here before, is he not?
Who's that?
McIlroy. Yeah,
McElroy has one. I just don't. I'm just looking at Rory. I think he's gonna do a little bit of the same thing. It's not a great golf. I mean, it is a great golf course for him in terms of the length. But there is a few of those holes that he doesn't really set up for him, and if it takes the driver on a couple of those holes out of his hands like it did last week. So if he gets really aggressive. And take some of those dogleg rights because he likes to hit the ball right to left, and some of those par fives go right to left. So if he stays aggressive, we'll see how he's swinging at it. But again, with Rory, the hard part with Rory, you just can't make any money on it. His odds are always so low. He's always has short odds, and it's very difficult to make money on Rory.
Yeah, Scheffler's the favorite at plus 650.
Gross.
You got Victor Hovland at plus 1400.
Sorry, Scheffler.
That's not a bad pick. I want to see a little bit more out of him. The weather, like I said, it's not going to be windy. That place, when that gets windy and firm, boy, that place can play very, very difficult. It doesn't have nearly as much water as they did last week, but look at the guys who hit the ball very far, and look at the guys who hit the ball right to left, and guys who drive the ball well. I think they're going to have great success at Bay Hill.
Cool. I was going to ask you about. Well, first, you just went and played Pebble Beach. That was pretty sweet, wasn't it?
Cypress Point, Pebble Beach, Spyglass.
Had to throw all that in there, didn't you?
Yeah, no, he asked. I wasn't going to say it, but he asked.
No,
I like other guys.
What a big week in Tampa, St. Pete this week. You got the ladies event, you got the IndyCar event, then you got Bay Hill in Orlando. But you'll be surprised, JP. I know you're so you perverse in the golf, but you'll be surprised how good the girls are.
Oh,
when you see them up close, and you playing in the Pro-Am. Who are you playing with in the Pro-Am? Do you know?
Don't know yet.
Okay. That's a great experience. And say hi to Johnny Renaud for me. He's the director of golf out there. He's a great guy. And if you need anything from him,
can you get here Thursday? Because I got an open slot for you for the Pro-Am.
I like to see what the odds are on you in the Pro-Am, because I'll throw a couple dollars on you if you.
Listen, at a 12-8 handicap right now is where I'm
12-8.
12-8.
Yeah, you're getting
fully deserved.
You're getting cussed out. You're getting cussed out at 12.
Here's the thing. When you play at Palmacia, have you played out there yet?
We played here 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. You know how and that's all I've been playing is Palmacia. And it's just so freaking tight. And the greens are and you miss the green. It's just, my short game. I don't score. I can't score there. I go out to play Feather Sound last week in the media event, and all of a sudden I'm hitting fairways. I'm hitting greens. You know why? Because they're not 20 yards wide. Where we play, it's, we just had the amateur event, the Gasparilla Invitational, which was just fabulously attended. It's just a gorgeous event. If you never attended that, it's really cool at Palmacia. We have the best amateurs in the United States. Mid-Am champions from all over the United States come here and play a 6,200-yard course. You know what the winning score was?
Even par.
One under par.
Wow.
1 under par. I mean, 6,200 yards, par 70. It's just so I would go out to Feather Sound and I'm like, wow, this is easy.
Yeah. And it's not easy, but compared to Palmacia, you're right, JP. I mean, first off, they have some of the fastest greens that you've ever seen, small, fast greens that they have. And that's the defense for Palmacia, right? At 6,200 yards, and certainly the hardest 6,200 yard place I've ever seen. You don't get a lot of roll. But you got to hit some greens that's probably running, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 anyways, and got some humps and bumps. But, boy, at 12, are they giving you your handicap out there for the tournament? Is that how they work for the Pro-Am?
I mean, they have. I think they're giving us what's interesting is on the actual play, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, an amateur is part of the 4-person team. So, and they take two best net balls. Obviously the pros are playing, there's no handicap there, but I could probably help some people out on a couple of those. I mean, I hit one of the par 5s and 2, haven't done that in a while. But it's just easier with the wider fairways and whatnot. It gives you a little bit more sense of confidence. You're not, stand over the ball, just shaking in your cleats because, miss right or left, you're screwed. It's double bogey. So I think I'll be able to help the team on Thursday. I wish you were playing too, man.
Me too. Well, you can par 4 or 5 of those holes out there with your pops, and you hit the ball far enough. The par 5s are kind of in playing too, so you certainly will have some help. But you'll be surprised how good the girls are. I mean, they're not the longest hitters, but you'll be surprised how good they are. Their irons are and their putting are. You'll be really shocked.
Oh, I won't be surprised. I've seen them play. I know how good they are, and they're freaking amazing. And I can't wait to get out there. And this is the European Ladies Tour, but Brittany Lincecum's going to be playing. Former major champion Lexi Thompson, former major champion. Both of them will be in the field, but probably a lot of ladies that I haven't heard of that can all shoot 65 on this golf course. And they're just watching them. And that's why I tell people to go out there, especially if you have a young girl, a young golfer in the family. Go watch you sit at the range and watch them hit golf balls and see these gorgeous swings in this great weather. It's going to be fantastic. So it's the Aramco Team Series event. AramcoTeamSeries.com, I think, or .org is the just Google it. You'll get to the website, get your tickets. It's going to be great. They got a lot of freebies for women on Friday. I believe it's free. And for girls under 16, I think it's free as well. So check it out. It's going to be great. Great weekend.
Somewhere in attendance playing in the tournament, JP, and maybe you can find her because I haven't found her yet, is my future ex-wife.
Who's that?
I don't know. I don't know who it is yet. But she's probably playing in that tournament.
In the field, though.
Yeah,
Lynn Grant is a pretty predominant name over there. Who's won a lot on the in the Ladies European Tour. She has all the skills to kind of come over here. COVID got her a little bit, so if she's playing, I'm not sure she is playing in that event there in St. Pete. She's one to kind of watch a name that you hadn't really heard of for the normal casual fans of the LPGA Tour. So check her out if you're watching small. She's real athletic. And she looks like, if she can come over here more full time, she would certainly be a player that you want to watch on the LPGA Tour.
All right, partner. Jay Gerber, PGA Pro. You see his Twitter handle right there. He'll be giving out his official picks tomorrow, and then he'll put out his matchup picks on the weekends, which you can make some money on, folks. So make some dough with the PGA Pro. Johnny Gerber. See what I did there? I
liked it. Good. That was good. That's why you're a professional.
Allegedly. All right, my friend. Thank you very much. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, all the NFL news that's breaking right now. Brian Burns, Panthers, has been franchised by them, so he'll be returning to play for the Panthers. He's not hitting free agency, but Saquon Barkley is. Should the Bucs be interested in Saquon Barkley? I'll put that question to TJ Reeves, who will be joining us next. We're brought to you by the Geddes Gordon Group. If you're looking for a real estate property, whether it be for yourself or an investment property, they have all the goods and tremendous customer service. You'll become part of the family at the Geddes Gordon Group when you hire them to buy your next home. Or if you're looking to sell, same thing. Get the great folks over at Geddes Gordon, including our good friend Jane Geddes, who will join us on Friday, U.S. Open champ. We'll talk some golf and some real estate as well. So Geddes Gordon Group for all your real estate needs, and the American Mortgage Services guys, Scott Fitzgerald, for your mortgage. They know what they're doing. Scott at amstampa.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local. We're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA 2-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, You want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com, or call 813-485-6808. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on this Testosterone Tuesday. Brought to you by...
It has been a Testosterone Tuesday, man. We're talking racing and all sorts of stuff.
It's been fun. I love getting, guys like Linus on, and, that just, we talk a lot of Buccaneers, a lot of Tampa Bay stuff. So it's always great to get a little bit of a different voice on here. Fun young man too. Looking forward to seeing what he could do this week and the fact that he's got, his two teammates, the reigning champion and Scott Dixon.
Dude, Scott Dixon, he's for those of you not familiar, he is the Tom Brady of IndyCar right now. I mean, longevity, he's been in the game over 20 years, championships, Indy 500s. He's always at the front of the pack, and he's just, dude, he's the new Mario Andretti. I know people know that name, so it's amazing.
Yeah, he was a good setup there.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move over to the NFL. Some kind of breaking news this morning. The Giants will not franchise tag Saquon Barkley, so he's headed for free agency. Of course, this was kind of this thing last year, and then they signed him for a 1-year deal, I think, right?
Yeah,
for like $11 million. The tag would cost him $12.1 million. So he'll be
running back is worth $12 million.
No, 27. He's 27 years old. He's super talented. He's uber talented, but he's oft injured. If if the Bucs could get him for a song, then yeah. But we're not spending real money on Saquon Barkley, right? That's not something you want to do.
And you shouldn't, because you can literally teams these, that's why I kind of crack up. And Derrick Henry's a free agent, Josh Jacobs, all these running backs. Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, all these guys are free agents, and they want a big payday from somewhere. And teams don't have to do that anymore, man. The running back position, it's devalued for a reason. Yeah. You don't have to go pay these guys $10 million. You can go get a third round guy in free agency that will do the same exact thing for you for 2 or 3 years. And then when his rookie contract is up, you go get somebody else. That's the game these days.
Yeah. Yeah. And the rookies are, I hate to say it, but it's a position that just gets chewed up and spit out. I mean, when you've taken that many hits, especially the way he plays, and he's been injured, there's no reason. It's a waste of money. You can get the same production from a young kid coming in, faster, stronger, more, going to be more durable,
more eager.
Yeah, it's just not the way to go. It's it's kind of a renewable position. And as crass as that sounds, I just don't think you're ever going to see guys being productive for 10, 12, 15 years in this league at that position. It's just, they're too big and fast. The guys hitting them are too big and fast. And so I don't think the Bucs will be in play. Listen, he's the talent. If you want to come play here on the minimum, come join us here in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
I think you'll find a different place. Maybe Dallas.
Well, Dallas is a team that will overpay for a running back. I mean, they franchise tagged Tony Pollard last year. He made almost $12 million.
Yeah.
And that was coming off of a broken leg that he suffered in the playoffs last year. So
Was
he
it
had
worth
a down
it?
season. No, he had a down season.
Yeah, never is. Brian Burns will be tagged by the Carolina Panthers because they couldn't get a deal done with him. He'll make $24 million this year. It's just, that's a situation where he doesn't want it. Who wants to stay in Carolina? Nobody.
I think they're going to trade him. I think their tag and trade situation is, I don't think he's going to be there next year. Those two sides are so far apart on a deal, and bridges have been burned. There's bad blood now between him and the team, and I don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think the Bucs would want, although they need a guy coming off the edge. And
everybody knows. Everybody,
he's a good one. Yeah, but I mean, the Bucs they just have nobody at this point coming off the edge. Trying to get his numbers. He had a career high 12.5 sacks in the 2022 season. Was named to the Pro Bowl for the second straight year. Talks broke down before the 23 season. Seeking to be paid among the highest edge rushers in the NFL. Yeah, that doesn't seem like he would be an option here in Tampa Bay. Love my Seminoles. We don't.
Yeah.
We got no Seminole flavor on this Buccaneers team.
No, you don't really, do you?
I'm trying to think.
Burns had 8 sacks last year. He's a productive player, but he's going to come expensive.
Diaby had 7.5?
Yeah, for probably a lot less money, right?
Oh yeah, as a 3rd-round pick. Yeah. Hell of a lot less money. Yeah, it's just these high number edge guys. You end up paying like the premium price. And even if they give you 12.5 sacks, is it, it just depends on who they are. Is it worth to pay it? A JJ Watt? Yeah. A TJ Watt? Yeah. A Max Crosby? Yeah. These guys, these premium Khalil Mack, yeah, they make a difference. They make a huge difference. It's hard to find Super Bowl winners that don't have great edge rushers. Every time the Bucs won it, they've had guys. There's Shaq Barrett, JPP, Simeon Rice. You just go right through it. You need a guy it's a difference maker in this league. But man, the cap hits sometimes just get. I bet if you look at the history of all those deals, there's more bad ones than good ones.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know what's that happening. Then there's guys reaching the end of their careers, like Jason Kelce, who had a very tearful goodbye yesterday to the Philadelphia Eagles. But this quote, I think, will live on in infamy. Can we play the Jason Kelce? And he's reading from a prepared statement. So if you don't think he meant to say it the way he said it, you're fooling yourself.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I won't forget Nick Foles having the game of his life on the biggest stage possible. And the biggest dick on the team going up to Doug Peterson and asking for the Philly special. And Doug Peterson having the biggest balls in the stadium.
Is he laughing or crying?
He's crying.
You sure?
No, that's a cry.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Who is the biggest D on the team?
Well, Foles requested it, right?
Right.
I mean, we've heard the audio. There's NFL Films video of Foles walking up and saying, Philly special time? And Peterson going, yeah, let's do it.
So he said Nick Foles was the biggest D on the team?
That's what I take from that.
Okay.
Unless he was calling him, unless he thinks
that's did. That's the urban legend. You know, is he as a personality, a D?
Or physically. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, I hate the Eagles more than any other team in the league, and it's not even close. But God, I love Jason Kelce. I hate his brother.
Isn't he the best?
But I love Jason Kelce.
I love it. They're like, I mean, come on. TJ Reeves joining us here. Just got done with the Bet US Appalachian State, Boise State.
Oh my God,
basketball show. Hey,
yes.
you gave my boy Fitzy Kentucky last week. He cashed on that. So he's a big TJ Reeves.
All right. I got to come strong, is what you're saying.
Yes, give us a couple more picks.
On the show, they were talking a ton about Kansas State. I love Kansas in revenge. Lay them with Kansas for whatever that's worth.
Okay.
Florida, Alabama. They're going to start shooting about 5 Eastern time for that 7 Eastern time game, and they're not going to stop shooting, and they're going to score a ton of points, both of them. Take the over.
Like the over? And
Take the
Florida
over.
Bama game. Okay.
I'm here to help. San Diego State. We were just talking a ton about San Diego State playing UNLV tonight in the last game of the night at UNLV. San Diego State is laying like 1.5. They'll win the game. Take San Diego State.
Who's going to beat Kansas?
Kansas will beat Kansas State. Lay the number. Revenge for Kansas. That's in Timmy's part of the world. Revenge for Bill Self and company. They lost to Baylor Saturday. Kansas bounces back and rolls Kansas State tonight on senior night.
Ooh, Scott Reynolds would not like that at all.
Sorry. I'm just here. Here to help. I know Scotty was with you. Yeah. I'm just here. So we were talking a lot about those. Listen, and you know what else we talked about? I know you want to talk about several things and you got to get out of here. We talked a lot about South Florida, USF. What a story this is. And JP, it is almost surreal. I'm not able to get there tonight.
Right.
It is almost surreal because they've clinched the 1 seed. They've won the regular season title. JP, in the 50-year history of the program, they've never played a March home game like tonight.
Yeah.
Where they have the number 1 seed and the game doesn't really matter. It matters for the NCAA tournament. Don't lose. But I mean,
packed house tonight.
It's going to be sold out again, apparently, with the 3,500, 4,000 students. What an incredible situation that they've already clinched at 15-1 in the American, playing Tulane tonight.
Mir Abdul Rahim, best first year of coaching. I think it was Matt Baker or Joey Knight did an article on that today in the Times. And best rookie season coaching in the history of Tampa Bay. I think that's pretty.
You can make that argument.
Yeah.
John Gruden won a Super Bowl in his first year.
Okay,
but that team was ready to win with Hall of Famers. This is the 3 words are this is completely out of nowhere. Absolutely what he's done. And I am saying again to you on FanStream JP on March the 5th, if they win these final 2 games, the last game is in your part of the world, Timmy, at Tulsa, who's terrible.
Yep.
If they win these last 2 games and are 17-1, winning 22 of the last 23, they're not leaving them out. With that finish to the season.
If they don't win the tournament,
I'm calling it right here on your show. If they win these next 2 games, they don't have to win the tournament. I think winning a game at the tournament will help them. But you've got enough voices on that committee. I mean, let me go over it for you. The head of the committee is the SWAC commissioner, Charles McClellan. That's the head of the selection committee that's doing the voting. Ultimately, this is a vote. You've got the Santa Clara AD. You've got the Samford AD out of Birmingham. You've got the Big Sky commissioner, and you've got the Sun Belt commissioner. They always do this. You've got 5 mid-major or small major conferences who are going to say, hello. Does the season not matter, McFly? Does the December, January, and February part of the season not matter if a team wins 22 of 23 games?
It'd be criminal. It'd be absolutely criminal.
It would be criminal.
But just go ahead and win the tournament.
Well, if they win the tournament, they remove all doubt. But let's see. It's going to be a great atmosphere there tonight. And then how wild is this American tournament between South Florida, Memphis, Florida Atlantic? It's like 6 teams with 1 chair on the musical chairs.
I want to see that rematch of that with FAU. That was, it was
tremendous.
Arguably the biggest win in USF history on their home floor. But other than that, a hell of a basketball game. So
here's where it lines up just real quick. And I know you want to talk Bucs, then you got to go. Here's where it lines up. South Florida is the 1 seed. Right now, Memphis is in the 4 spot. So that would be your theoretical semifinal game. However, Memphis at Florida Atlantic Sunday. If Memphis wins, my understanding, Memphis would then potentially be in the 3 hole
Right.
And Florida Atlantic is now your semifinal
Oh.
team for USF.
Okay.
In the American Conference tournament, potentially. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
So, all right. So we got Mike Evans is in the fold.
Boom.
I think that sets up as you predicted, and many of us did. But there was a lot of smoke out there, but no fire,
No.
which is good.
Because, again, he wants to finish here and be a Hall of Famer, having only played in Tampa Bay, and I think that was a factor. Another factor, much like J.P. Peterson, he gets his signing bonus. It's like $25 million, $28 million, whatever that number is going to be, and he gets that right now, today.
Yeah.
So that's a huge part of why he's smiling ear to ear. And as I said to you before, I don't know everything, but I'm telling you, I know how this works. They put deals in front of him and Baker and Winfield, probably a couple of versions of it, and said, who wants to say yes first?
Yep.
Who wants to take the guaranteed money and the signing bonus first while we have it between you guys and your agents? Come ahead. So Evans was first through the door. I think Baker Mayfield will be next through the door later this week, probably.
Anybody getting tagged today? Junior getting tagged?
Good question. Antoine Winfield Jr. would be the candidate for that.
Yeah.
And again, that is a situation where you could tag him to keep him off free agency and then still agree to a long-term deal. They did that with Chris Godwin a couple of years ago, as you know, and you've been talking about. They could do that. So
could they do that with Baker? Because Scott Reynolds said that they don't have enough cap money to franchise him.
No,
now.
because the tag on that would be like literally $35 or $40 million, I think.
Yeah, but then you can work out a long-term deal afterwards.
But the problem is in the present, if you do that and he counts that high, does that keep you from being able to keep Winfield if you do that?
Right.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. But these are again, in Jason Light we trust. They've been working on this, folks, for a couple of months on how they make it work. And there's your first big domino. Love it that Mike Evans is going to stay here.
Yeah, and I just can't see, people are talking about the Falcons offering Baker $200 million. I'm like, first of all, that's fake. That's fake news. Second of all, they're just trying to get the Bucs to pay more or whatever.
Of course.
Can you see what would Mike Evans do if Baker Mayfield signed with the Falcons? He would hunt him down.
Well, sure. But under our auspices and our theories and what we've been talking about, the Evans and Baker Mayfield tandem, they've been talking to each other. There's nothing that says players can't talk to each other about what they're doing.
Anywhere.
So Baker Mayfield's going to be back, much to the chagrin of the Falcons and the rest of the NFC South, it looks like. And let's see where we go from there.
And they will remain to be the best team in the NFC South for another year.
Agreed.
About that. I don't think there's
if they bring those guys back.
And the good news, TJ, and I've said this, is once Evans signs, that means Baker's going to sign. That means the Bucs are not going to have to do this rebuild like every other team in the NFC South has to do, and every team in the NFL. Frankly, when you go to the playoffs 4 years in a row, it's the way the cycle works, because you get punished by the NFL with drafting and everything else. You got to take your medicine. Well, the Bucs have expertly took their medicine last year and still got to the playoffs.
That is correct.
So
bonus, correct.
So you don't have to take that dip, and now you're right back in it with established quarterback. So sucks to be the Saints and the Panthers and the Falcons.
Such is life. We're looking up with the Buck free agency. You have me back whenever you need me. College basketball picks, NCAA tournament upcoming. Let's see what South Florida does tonight. This would be 21 of 22 games if they win it tonight. They are a national story right now.
I'll be watching. Is it on ESPN?
It's going to be on ESPN Plus, I believe, tonight. I'm not sure it's on one of the main ESPN channels. So if you have the app, it'll be on there on their coverage. But they're getting attention everywhere, as they should. Right now, with the nation's longest winning streak. JP, we've never uttered, much less on March the 5th, the nation's longest winning streak is the South Florida Bulls, 14 in a row. Incredible.
Holy crap.
Incredible.
All right, partner. Thank you for your time. As always,
Great to be with you.
Gave us some winners. Big day today.
You guys behave. Good to be with you. See you later.
Not really. It makes for a boring show. That was a hell of a show today. Jason Kelsey saying crazy things, and Linus Lundqvist.
Linus, we got to get his name right.
IndyCar series, yeah.
Rhymes with weenus.
That's not the other way around. Yes, weenus. Show him your weenus. Look it up. All right, that'll do it for us here on the Testosterone Tuesday. That's a great way to end.
It is.
Thank you, Jim. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. If you missed anything, you can always catch us as a podcast or rewatch on YouTube and Facebook and all that. Oh, I heard YouTube and Facebook were down today at some point. So, but you can see the show on YouTube.
Not here. They weren't. Like, they were all working for me. So I checked them when I saw that.
Good stuff. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.